It's time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario!
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G, episode 135. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
Okay, so we just got a few news stories to get to because...
We've got more to talk about.
Yes.
Bigger and better things.
Yes, the news will be a very small part of this episode. First, we have a synopsis for the Fantastic Beasts sequel. Principal photography began this week on the first sequel to last year's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, an expansion of J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, set decades before Harry Potter arrived in Hogwarts. While casting confirmed the addition of Jude Law as a young Albus Dumbledore, as well as Johnny Depp stepping in as the wizard supremacist Gellert Grindelwald, plot details have been scarce until today, when Warner Brothers released a brief synopsis hinting to things to come. According to Variety, Grindelwald has made a dramatic escape and has been gathering more followers to his cause, elevating wizards above all non-magical beings. The only one who might be able to stop him is the wizard he once called his dearest friend, Albus Dumbledore. But Dumbledore will need help from the wizard who had thwarted Grindelwald once before, his former student, Newt Scamander. The sequel will be set in 1920s Paris, as opposed to New York City, and will see the return of Eddie Redmayne, Catherine Watterson, Alice Sudol, Dan Fogler, Ezra Miller, and Zoe Kravitz. The still untitled sequel, the second in a supposedly 5-part series, is set to hit theaters November 2018.
Probably the coolest thing out of that would have to be like Jude Law playing Albus Dumbledore. Yeah. He's going to do like a great job with it, I think. I
think so too. It'll be good to see the interactions between him and Johnny Depp going back and forth, and I think that'd be pretty good.
They do have good chemistry together.
Mm-hmm. And I really liked the first one, so I'm looking forward to the sequel.
I didn't realize it was supposed to be 5. I mean, I knew that there was going to be quite a few installments, but... Yeah,
there's going to be 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they're going to break the last one up into 2 movies.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Comic-Con. WB is bringing Justice League, Aquaman, and much more to Comic-Con. We're heading into con season. So we're going to get a whole lot more stories coming from there. Warner Brothers is bringing Aquaman, Justice League, Blade Runner 2049, Ready Player One, and more to Comic-Con International in San Diego this year. Warner Brothers has quite a few big blockbuster genre releases planned for the remainder of 2017, as well as throughout 2018, and one of the biggest stages where the studio can show off its upcoming slate is the massive annual convention in San Diego. Last year, Warner Brothers rolled out trailers for the Lego Batman movie and King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, as well as DC Extended Universe entries Wonder Woman and Justice League. This year, the studio is bringing its 2 upcoming DCEU installments, as well as 2 major genre releases. Denis Villeneuve's long-awaited follow-up to Ridley Scott's Blade Runner 2049, and Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Ernest Cline's Ready Player One. Now fans gearing up for San Diego Comic-Con 2017 can look at a full lineup for Warner Brothers Hall H presentation.
Be sure to do some calisthenics, as they gear up for it.
Yep.
But okay, so what's the appeal? Because they're dropping it there, but within minutes we're gonna seriously get all of this online, right? So what's because I've tried in the past to get tickets to San Diego Comic-Con. They sell out within minutes. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. One of my friends and she was just like, all right, now if you get any let me know. And we tried it. didn't even get a chance.
Yeah, I mean, as far as San Diego goes, it's become just a cluster down there, you know. There's just hundreds of thousands of people that go through there, and it's crowded, and like you said, the things that are shown are online, you know,
within
just,
seconds.
yeah.
Seriously, yeah.
But I think it has to do with, you know, seeing the celebrities, getting the stuff firsthand.
That is kind of the appeal for, like, you know, Salt Lake, but I feel like it doesn't. I mean, even though it gets crowded and packed and stuff, it doesn't feel that congested, you know, as compared to this one that's like, you know, been around for years longer. And
I think, I mean, some people make, you know, large journeys to San Diego. They save up all year long to go to this. And so, you know, they go, I mean, if you go out onto the floor where all the vendors are, you know, you can't get through there.
Right.
It's insane. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see the stuff that comes out of it. Hopefully we'll get some interesting stories, maybe a few more trailers here and there.
Although, like, sometimes it's seriously, I feel like I'm doom and gloom here, but like, they're just like teaser trailers of teaser trailers. A lot of the times.
I don't know. Sometimes in San Diego, they tend to give the full trailer. They did with Star Wars, I think.
That's very true.
Or was that at D23? I don't know. Anyway, I have to say, though, I've seen the preview for Blade Runner 2049. I gotta say, I don't have any feelings for it. No.
Yeah.
Blade Runner, the first one, you know, it was never on my radar. I haven't seen it. You know, people say it's this great sci-fi film that, you know,
revolutionizes things. And
it's one of the 100 movies you need to see before you die, and like I don't have any interest. I really don't. I don't know. Maybe I'll go see it. You know, maybe I don't know, if I don't have anything else to do. All right. Speaking of Comic-Con, for those of you who don't know, obviously we have San Diego Comic-Con, and then we have over here Salt Lake Comic-Con.
And there's kind of a blood feud.
There is. Nothing to do with us over here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
It's San Diego coming after us because we're using the Comic-Con name.
You can't patent words like that.
Well, that's their thing. A long simmering legal dispute between Comic-Con International, the organization that puts on San Diego Comic-Con, and the individuals and entities that run Salt Lake Comic-Con over the use of the term Comic-Con has boiled over and will be heading to trial this fall after a court-ordered settlement meeting last week in San Diego failed to produce agreement between the parties. At issue is the ownership of the trademark on Comic-Con as compared to comic/con with a hyphen. This has been, which is just getting really petty here.
Yeah.
Which has been registered to San Diego Comic-Con since 2005. SDCC issued a cease and desist notice to Brian Brandenburg and Dan Farr, organizers of Salt Lake City Comic-Con in 2014.
Nice fellows.
Yes, they are. To enjoin them from using the term to promote their event, which had grown quickly over the preceding year. Rather than complying with the notice, Brandenburg and Farr escalated their legal conflict and countersued, challenging the basis of the trademark in an appeal for summary judgment. So this is, I mean, it's just getting ridiculous as far as San Diego goes. I mean,
yeah,
they pop up going, hey, look, you can't use that. You can't use Comic-Con. But the guys over here are like, well, wait. You know, you have all these Comic-Cons over in New York and all over the United States are using the term Comic-Con. Why are you coming after us?
Yeah.
Because we're big.
It grew pretty fast.
That's why. Because we grew really quick. Yeah. And we become one of the biggest cons in the country. That's the only reason I can see that they're coming after us.
And this is really going to set kind of a precedence for all of these other ones, right? whether they can use it or not.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time I know that San Diego has, is going to trial over this. I've never heard that before.
Oh, neither have I.
And when I say us, I mean us.
Yeah.
Because we've been a pretty big part of Salt Lake Comic Con. We've been every year.
Right.
We've done press for them, and so it kind of hits home.
It does.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I don't think San Diego has much of a leg to stand on at this point.
Yeah.
And I think the term Comic-Con has been used before San Diego came around, so
right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
That will only make, like, if anything, it'll only make, say for some reason Salt Lake can't use it anymore. That'll only make the merchandise that you purchase there that says Salt Lake Comic Con on it worth much more.
It's true.
Become collector items overnight.
That is true.
Yeah, that'll be kind of funny.
All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about our experiences at Gaming Con 2017 and all the fun and excitement we had there. So we'll be right back right after this. On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. So, Salt Lake Gaming Con 2017. Yeah. This is the third year, right?
It is.
They've done this?
Right.
Okay.
And by far the biggest, is from what I've heard.
Well, this is the first year I've been to it.
Same here.
So it was Friday and Saturday. I only went down Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
But you went down Friday and
did.
Saturday, both days.
First impressions. Okay, so when I got to the convention, I was standing in line and waited, and then they said, "Hey, here's your we can give you your press pass, but it's got both of them." And I was just like, okay, well, Troy's not going to be here until tomorrow, so can you just hold on to this one? Like, unfortunately, like, seriously, it was like 10 minutes of just standing there. After much deliberation, they decided like, hey, how about you just take both of them? Like, okay, that works fine with me. So so they checked us off the list. And while I was standing in line waiting to get in, it was kind of funny. There was this other guy, like this bigger gentleman, and he was with like another guy, and he had this like feather in his in his ear, like that was just like sticking out, and he walked past everybody else that was in line, and then walked over and said like, "I'm here for my panel," and like in that kind of theatrical voice, and the guy working behind the counter is like, I'm sorry, what was it? Like, what was that? And he's just like, the panel I'm here for.
I'm here for a panel.
Yeah.
Everybody
like, he started using his hands and, like, getting all into it. It was pretty funny. And they're like, okay, well, so have you been in, or what have you been into? Because they started chatting while they were getting his press pass, which they still, I'm not press pass, but I guess, like, some sort of, I don't know, other pass for him. And while he was just standing there, one of the guys was like, so what, have you been in anything that I might have like recognized? And he's just like, well, I've been in some minor things, and like it was really funny because I couldn't even like name what the heck what he said because it was just like so low budget, like it was bad. But
well, didn't he say he was a voice actor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said that he did say that he was a voice actor, and that he's done some other he's done some smaller things, and he's dibble dabbled in like. Okay, like I don't know. It was just
perhaps you know me as man number one in the Tylenol commercial.
He'd be like 6 or 7 or something, or like didn't even get recognized or recognized. But it was just kind of funny because they let him in, but he's just like, now is there a separate door to go in? Like,
wow.
What? Dude, you can walk in the same door everybody else is walking into. I don't know.
Move aside, peasants.
Oh, and then it's kind of funny because we actually did see him the next day.
I'm
like, Troy, look, here he is again. And dude, he still had that same feather in his hair.
The feather.
But then the best part about it is he was standing right next to all the other voice actors.
Yeah, he was.
Like just standing, like he wasn't behind the rope, he had to stand on the other side of the rope, but he just kind of like stood there and like looked around and was smiling at people like as if he was a big deal too, or they would recognize him. I almost feel like he should have had his buddy hold up a little sign that says signatures $2.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah.
It's like I'm standing here with my contemporaries, my peers. Good to see you all again.
Like, who
is this guy?
Security jumps on, tackles him.
I'm a voice actor.
Not my lucky feather. Bring him back. Yeah.
Don't touch my feather.
And so I got a chance to kind of walk around the convention, and it was definitely geared towards art as well as video game and board games.
Yeah.
Or tabletop games. And that's the majority of it was. They kind of had it divided into the 3 sections, and I mean, I made a laps and kind of walked around, and I was just like, all right, well, I've seen everything there is to see. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a lot smaller than Comic-Con, but it was still pretty decent sized for what they brought to the table, and they put on a good show. But it was totally geared towards Overwatch.
Yeah,
everybody and their dog had something Overwatch.
Oh yeah,
and all the voice actors had been in Overwatch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Saturday,
mm-hmm.
It was kind of funny because first you started out, I was gonna carpool down with you. You're like, what time you want to go? I said, well, why don't you pick me up at 9:00?
Yeah.
You're like, 9:00, really?
That's what I was thinking. I was just thinking 9. Okay. I mean, you can see everything there is to see in a couple, an hour.
Yeah. But my thought process was, well, let's get down there before everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the crowds.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. The crowds, quote unquote. So we get down there, and first thing we do when we walk in there, there's a little setup. I mean, there's setups all over the place of different games you can play.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, we get there and we play Rocket League.
Yeah.
For the first time. I've never played that before.
No, neither have I.
And it was actually not too bad. It was actually kind of fun.
I feel like if I knew what the different power-ups were to help you, if I oh shoot, I need to grab this one because it's magnetic.
Yeah.
So then it would have been a little bit more helpful. Plus, it was really funny because we were sitting in there and there's people playing around on these other big, huge TVs, and you're like, oh shoot, I guess it's only 2v2 is the smallest that you can do, and I'm like, we need 2 more people, and then it was kind of funny because I'm like, do we? Just press A on the other controllers, but. Which I swear your player too started helping you throughout the game because I saw him driving around randomly.
He did kind of seem like he started moving, huh?
Yeah. It's kind of off-putting. I'm like, oh, what the heck? And then that's why I looked around to see if anybody else had grabbed the controller.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah. So we started to wander around a bit and check stuff out.
You have to say tell them about I guess this was a little bit later on, but the Switch. First chance to play the Switch.
First time we ever played the Switch. Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm a 32-year-old man.
Yeah.
I've been playing video games since I can remember.
Oh, same
right?
here.
I played the original Nintendo onward. Everything that's
Mhm.
come after it. I've played all those consoles.
The Switch.
The Switch in my hands, I was like a caveman with a laptop. Like I couldn't figure out what to do.
Yeah. It was pretty brutal, especially like when some of our characters, because we were playing this boxing game,
Yeah.
you know, and some of our characters that sometimes would just kind of like stop. I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't I move? Like, what is this?
And because he had the two controllers in both hands,
Mhm.
and I couldn't figure out how to hold them.
Right.
It's like, well, do I hold it this way with it facing up, or this
Yeah.
way so it's on the side?
All right, banana hands. Like
That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
Like I felt like a monkey or something. Yeah, and that was the first time ever playing a video game that I felt like I was just an old man. And it was really disconcerting.
Mhm. It didn't help. Like, okay, I was worried. Like, okay, these two kids came up because they had different other games for Smash Brothers that you just had to plug in a controller and you could go play.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they just borrowed controllers or if they found them or if they just had them with
Or
them.
just had them.
Yeah. But they're like, oh, excuse me, is anybody playing on this one? And it's like, no, go ahead. Like, but I was thinking in the back of my head, like, if he would have said, sir, so help me.
I
know. That Switch controller would have gone to the face.
But yeah, I mean, you look over and these other kids are playing with the Switch and they're like tossing them around. And
Yeah, doing like all sorts of tricks
Yep.
and stuff with it.
spinning them on one finger. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck? But then you engaged in some LARPing.
I did. It was have I ever? No, that was the first time I've ever played LARPing.
Which we do have video of, and I will post it
Oh,
on our
geez.
website after this. But if you don't know, LARPing stands for live action role playing.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you were a kid and you would take sticks with your friends and pretend they were swords
Right.
or guns or something, pretty much what it is, but for adults. And the sticks become big foam weapons.
Right.
So there was this big setup, like a little fenced off area.
For safety, of course.
Of course.
you can poke your eye out.
Yeah. And pretty much it turned into Braveheart because you had one team here on this side, one team on this side.
Well, my team didn't seem motivated at all.
Yeah.
I was just like, come on, guys, we need like some sort of motivational speech at this time. And the guy said, like, turned to me that was like full decked out in
Yeah.
armor and everything. Like, he's just like, don't die. Oh, all right.
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it's like I was waiting for one of those moments like, you bled with Wallace, now bleed with me. You know,
Yeah.
throw one of my foam like swords at
Yeah.
them.
And it was fascinating though watching because if you got hit, like if your arm got hit, you had to put your arm behind your back.
Yeah,
And the same thing if like you got hit in the leg, all of a sudden you had to hop on one leg.
right.
And it was
There were some people that like, oh, man,
ridiculous.
okay. I've always said this, that if I was ever in battle or something, I'd be cheap. And that's
Yeah.
exactly the game like way that I played. This one kid was like turning and like fighting. There was like 1v1 kind of thing going on. And I just ran behind him, just hit him in the back. I'm like, not today, it's Meghead, you know. Yeah. Although the whole entire time that I was doing this, the what is the song? Star Wars. Yeah.
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates, thank you. Yeah, Duel of the Fates kept playing in my head, like especially when I grabbed two swords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're I've run into these people before. Just, within
In a dark alley?
if
No.
I did, I would not be afraid. Trust me.
Like, what's that? BO smell.
It's like you can smell them before you see them. Oh, yeah, there was some funky smells
Coming
occasionally.
From that
Yeah.
arena.
In the whole con, occasionally you just get a waft of something.
That's why I think that they have to keep offering like caramel corn and other like roasted like
Yeah.
foods.
Get those smells out there. But yeah, as I was saying, I've run into these guys before within my geek circles.
Right.
It was never been on purpose. I've never sought them out or anything. But there are some people that go so hardcore into that.
Mhm.
Like they have studied like ancient battle strategy and studied how like the old masters fought, stuff like that.
Well, see,
Like,
I was
it's
thinking
insane.
like I've seen every episode of the Star Wars,
Yeah, right.
I should be a pro at this. Yeah. Not the case. I died a couple of times.
Yeah.
Although our team did come out victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
It was really funny because I grabbed the sword and I was just like testing it out in the beginning and just kind of like hit you in the arm and you're like, ow! Like, Troy, like, man up here. Like,
That hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I know it was just foam, but that really hurt. Tell me to man up.
Although, okay, the first day when I was watching some people do this,
Yeah.
there was this one girl that was standing there watching, the battle, and I was like, avert your eyes, like this is like the bloodshed, it's horrible. That's what I like initially said to her. And she was cosplaying and kind of had this like phantom mask on, and it turns out her name was like Raven. Yeah.
Of course
fitting,
it was.
right?
Of course it was.
So, like, which is kind of funny because we ourselves, this is weird. Like, on a side note, we ourselves are like nerdy. And I just had one of those epiphany like moments where it's just like, is this what I sound like to other people that don't like video games and movies and that don't like this nerdy stuff? I'm like, oh man, like it kind of set in for a moment. But anyways, I was talking to Raven and it was kind of funny because she was saying, oh yeah, like I'm going to be doing this and joining up with a certain group in Salt Lake. I'm like, oh, that's really pretty interesting. And then she's just like, yeah, I've actually been like, and she pulled out like, I didn't even see where she like pulled it out of like a pocket or something, like pulled out this little teeny knife that was like styrofoam that she'd, I guess, purchased online that like somebody had handcrafted and made.
Right.
I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's pretty impressive. And so I was like, playing it around, like throwing it back and forth. I'm like, wow, this is properly weighted. Like, but anyways, she was saying, yeah, I've really been practicing my parrying. So I like hit with this arm to block their sword. I'm like, your arm, okay, but like block their sword, and then like I can stab them. And if you can stab them 3 times, then that downs them. But then they have a bleed out count, like for about 30 seconds, that they can be revived by a healer or a mage. Okay.
All right.
And then it was kind of funny because she was talking about how if you stand, like go behind them, you say something, I can't remember what it was, but you hit them with the back side of your sword like 10 times, then that downs them as well. Like, who's gonna just be standing there like letting you get hit like 10 times? Like, I don't, and then she also said that there's a couple of people that they can be, because I started wondering about like the sorcerer. I'm like, I didn't even know there was like a thing in here.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, if you have a mage in your group, then they have these one things. It was kind of like a net, basically, that if you throw out, it can do fire, like 10 points of fire damage. I'm like, what? This is like D&D here.
Okay.
Yeah. So you throw it out, but like unless they're immune to fire damage. I'm like, well, how do you know if they're immune to fire damage? Well, they call it out. Oh. Or they wear like a bandana or something, or they have some sort of marking. And I'm like, all right, like, and I just had to continue this conversation because it was pretty riveting. But it was just really kind of funny because I guess she'd come up with like a complete backstory, which I've done the same thing with like D&D. So I'm not like hazing her for that, but it was just kind of funny because she was like getting really, really passionate about this thing. And then she's like, yeah, this will be the first time that I'll get to go to one of these events. And then I'll be old enough to go on my own. I'm like, wait, how old are you? Like, and that's when I like, that's what,
time to back away to end this conversation right now.
Yeah, like, oh, well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Like,
all of a sudden your hands go straight up, like, okay.
Remember, 15 to 17 will get you 15 to 20, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Sound advice.
Yeah.
No, but it was really kind of cool. I've just never really known that much about it. But yeah, apparently there's a couple of guilds that are in our area, in our own backyard.
I know.
Come on. Are you like a mage level 10, Troy, secretively?
No.
That you go out and play?
No.
Oh.
That is, I mean, hey, look, if you want to do it, and if you enjoy it, great.
Yeah.
Have fun. But it's just not my thing.
Right.
And it's just not a channel of nerddom that I can go down.
A fandom type of deal.
Yeah, I can't do it. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting is when we headed over to the far north side,
Mm-hmm.
to where all the little D&D games were happening.
And those tabletop ones.
And the tabletop ones.
Yeah.
That's the ones I want to talk about. I didn't even know these type of games existed, but you have like this giant mat with like this landscape, and then you have all these pieces like, you know, destroyed buildings and hover vehicles and giant beasts and whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then that's what you play on.
These were set up kind of like Lord of the Ring-esque looking.
Yeah.
You know.
But you could be on a volcano type place or a cityscape. That's one we were watching. Was these guys were in this little city, and
which they had more of kind of like tank looking.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, it fit the environment.
Yeah. And
that would just be ridiculous to have like monsters in the city. Yeah.
And then they had their little armies and stuff. And I guess to fight, they had their dice. And then you were saying, and I saw this, they had to bust out their rulers.
Correct, yeah.
To see if they were far enough away to shoot each other. And
yeah.
It was fascinating.
That's where it lost you?
That's where it lost me. Yeah. Like, if I got to do that,
play a video game where it shows you the radius of what you can hit.
Like, I'd like to get into that stuff, but I'm just too lazy.
That requires effort.
It does.
Yeah.
And I just don't have the motivation or the time to do that.
Oh, because I mean, it can be. I mean, I do have a couple of friends and coworkers that they'll play, and they take each one of these little casted figurine guys, and they'll add like armor to it and paint it, and it gets pretty intricate. And like you have a cool like box that you can store them in, you know. But yeah, that's another thing. I don't know if I would find myself getting into.
No.
You were saying that the only way that you could be talked into playing it is if it was superheroes.
Right. Because I have played Hero Clicks, which is kind of like that, very toned down version. I have played that quite a bit, and so if they did come out with something like that where they had the cityscapes and all the props and stuff, and it was superhero based, I might be able to get into that.
Right.
But. Yeah, that's the only scenario where I can see that happening. But we did get to see some PlayStation VR. That was pretty cool.
That was really pretty neat.
They had several stations set up. So we got to see what the players were seeing, and it seems pretty intricate.
It does. It's come leaps and bounds, and like this is only the beginning. But I feel like they had a couple of things that were okay. So the first was kind of like the Xbox Connect, right?
Right.
And like kind of the Wii,
right?
And then they've kind of upped it to where it's VR, and it's only gonna get more intricate, more elaborate, and more realistic.
Yeah. As
things go. Ooh, I don't know. Some of these. Because I know that you can play in VR mode Resident Evil 7 and some of these other horror games. Like, that'd be kind of a trip. I already find myself getting sucked into that world. As you're playing, going along, I seriously sometimes I'll have to press pause and just look around and be like, okay, I'm here.
Yeah.
I get sucked into those games too easily.
But it is interesting to me. The correlation I saw was the newer the gaming system, where it was VR or something like that, the crappier the graphics looked. It's like the graphics haven't quite caught up yet with that technology.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I did, yeah. Even that one where that kid was walking around, those were kind of horrible. They seriously look like, 64 kind of a game.
And I thought that was interesting. So I don't know if the technology just isn't quite there yet, and maybe in 3 to 5 years or 10 years, we'll get realistic graphics. But that that just would kind of put me off, because playing a PS4 and then go, okay, well now I'll do this VR, and having the graphics be less than, it'd be a little oh, this isn't all that fun. That would be my thinking.
But at the same time, you'll go back and like buy a GameCube. You know what I mean? And like play these like other ones.
That's true, but that's purely nostalgia based,
right.
You know,
Where this
that's
is
just
where this
reliving
is new technology.
Yeah.
You've kind of come to accept it up to a certain level. Like there's a par.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. No. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Plus, they're expensive. They're like when plasma TVs and these other like TVs first came out, where it's like thousands of dollars for the equipment. I mean, once you have it, then it's not that expensive for the games. But man, that's a big investment.
Yes,
Plus, you have
it
to have
is.
a huge setup.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd have the room to just be able to, be sitting there. I don't know. It seems like you have to have a whole room dedicated to it.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, so they had that going on. They had a pinball tournament going on.
Which some of those machines, they actually had like a piece of paper over it. They're like, I thought, oh, it's going to be out of order. No, it's like reserved.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets to play it until the tournament.
And I thought they were rigged where you wouldn't have to pay, because I was kind of looking around at those. But no, you still got to plunk in quarters to play those.
Really?
Yeah. I'm like, well, no, I'm out. I'm not gonna
That
do
and they also did have a camera set up above the pinball machine that the person was playing, and it was really kind of funny because there was a couple of guys. You had one guy that was playing, and you had his hype man standing next to him,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you got that? Oh yeah!" And extra lives.
Yeah.
It was pretty dang funny. I'm like, he needs to be there with like a kind of a sponge or something, some water.
Yeah.
Like,
Squirt into his mouth.
yeah. Dr. Pepper me, like hurry,
That's what it would be, huh?
Yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Pepper me, Mountain Dew me.
do me.
Do me.
We used to say that
Like,
all
well,
the time.
hey,
to him.
not here, Carl.
Hey, go back to playing with those balls.
But then there were also a few voice actors there, and me and my proclivity to voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
I love voice actors, and one of the ones I really wanted to see was Steve Bloom. Now, if you don't know him, go look him up. You'll know his voice once you hear it.
Yeah.
He's been everywhere. If you grew up with Toonami, he was the voice of that little Toonami robot. He's been Wolverine. He's been... Oh, man, I can't even...
Star Wars.
Zeb.
Zeb.
Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. Yep. And so I wanted to do is to interview him and hopefully maybe get like a little soundbite or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a couple problems.
Well, because we'd already met with at Comic-Con, we've already met some of the voice actors, and like they are the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
Just happy that you recognize their work
Yeah.
and appreciate it.
And I'm perfectly happy to sit there and talk to you for a few minutes and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, with Steve, we got what I'm now referring to as Ralph Macchio'd, which is what Ralph Macchio did to us at Comic-Con. Which is go up to him, say, "Hey, can we interview you?" It's like, well, no, not right now.
No, we didn't interview. Oh yeah, go for it.
Not right now, but his handler telling us this. Well, come back later. So we come back later, and we still can't do it, and it's just a big runaround.
Yeah.
And we kind of got the same thing with Steve Bloom, which was kind of disappointing.
It was. That's why, kids, you never want to meet your heroes.
Yep. We did, however, talk to I don't remember his name.
Oh no!
But,
well, okay. So we did get to talk to him for a minute, though.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
That's true.
Which was kind of cool. Talked to him about it, and it was kind of funny because I said, like, are there some of your other ones? How do you pick and choose? And he said he had to go through the whole interview process, and he didn't even know what role he was actually like playing
with Zeb. That's what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then also he was saying like they're all parts of my mind and kind of like my children. Which was kind of funny. But that's kind of the way that they probably you view it.
Yeah. Now I do have to say it had nothing to do with Steve. It was his smarmy agent, which is one of the worst things about doing press for these.
Is dealing with them.
Is dealing with them.
Yeah.
Is dealing with these slime ball agents.
Because they all have the slicked back, greased hair. Yeah. They're all standing behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and
they're
like
all
holding
that,
this wad of cash.
Yeah, they're all that typical agent look.
Oh yeah.
I'm
pretty sure they have to go to school for that.
I think so too. Got to get that look down. But usually, again, with voice actors, you don't have a problem. But I don't know. This one we just didn't quite happen. Even though we did, we didn't record it. We ended up talking to him for like, I don't know, a minute or so. He seemed perfectly nice, but we did, however, talk to the guy who did the voice of Splinter on TMNT Out of the Shadows, the second movie. And he was cool. He was a nice guy.
He was way nice about it.
After he put down his wad of cash that he was counting.
That was really kind of funny. Yeah, because they pulled it out right then and there, and we're like counting it and like separating the 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, you don't think you could just do that later? But
haven't you ever heard the Kenny Rogers song?
Yeah.
Never count your cash at the table. Yeah, he was super cool. I think, that's all the voice actors we talked to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only like 6 of them to begin with.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. We did talk to a lot of artists. Made a lot of contacts.
Oh, absolutely.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get some people on here, and we'll hopefully expand to other podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
there's big things in the works.
There's big.
Which
things
that was
in
one
the
of my
works.
favorite things is just talking to him, because everybody else and everybody there, was just wanting to like connect with other people.
Yeah.
You were with your peers and your friends.
Yeah. And so if somebody would hand us a card, we'd hand them a card.
Yeah.
Which
was really cool to be able to do,
Yeah.
like flip it out, like a magic trick kind of thing.
When someone asks us, "Oh, who are you pressed with?" Pull out your card, like we're at the World War D podcast.
You might have heard of us. Which that was really funny is because one of the people, we were talking to an artist on like that artist alley.
Yeah.
And we were talking to him, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, I think I've heard of you guys." Like Troy's thinking in his head like,
No, you haven't.
No, you probably haven't. But that was still cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it.
No, it was cool. Let's see. We speaking of Dan Farr, we talked and gave one of our cards to Dan Farr,
which was pretty dang awesome. That was way fun.
Yeah, at your behest, you wanted to do
I
that.
couldn't think of his name for the life of me. I'm like, dude, I know him, and I know what he's over at Comic-Con, but we went up and like introduced ourselves, talked to him, and then I said, well, now that you've purchased half of it, which direction, because I wanted to find out this information, what their plans were for the future. And he just said, this is entirely different con, and it's kind of well established as far as what they want to do from it. So I hope that they don't get too mainstreamed.
Yeah.
And it ruins the whole feel of it, because that was one of the funnest things is you didn't have to like wait in a huge line to be able to sit down and to play a game if you wanted to. And there was tons of people that were like sitting down at these tables playing Magic, and there was all these other people with these tabletop games. And you know,
this one seemed a lot more personal.
It did.
It really wasn't that loud because you just had a lot of people just sitting and playing video games and just being around other people.
Right.
Who love the same video games you do, and and that's a lot of what it was, and which is cool. Let's see.
But no, he just said that he wants to kind of keep it the same and possibly bring in some other like bigger named celebrities.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the takeaway from it. But it was kind of cool because then he walked, like he's just like, "Oh well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys," and then like started walking off. And as he went to talk to somebody else, like I saw him take our card and put it in his like it was his business pocket. If it had been the right pocket, I'd be like, he's just gonna forget about it, throw it in the wash. But like no, he put it in his left pocket. It's like his business pocket. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to think. What else did we do?
That was pretty much it.
Pretty much
because
it.
I mean, we had sat down and we like made like a ton of other people, like played a couple of different games, some of these indie games, which was kind of fun. While we're waiting to see if we could go back to interview, we sat down on that couch.
Oh yeah.
Which was, I mean, that was actually a lot of fun.
Played kind of that
cool.
Space Miner game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And I guess it was just, I didn't realize it was kind of, those guys had just created it.
Right. Same with the other guys. I have their card, which we'll hopefully be able to get them on the podcast. That little shoot 'em up Western game.
Oh yeah, the little cowboy. Yeah.
Both of those guys had made it for like their final project, and which was cool that they like set up a booth and started plugging it, and it's on Steam. Both of them are going to be on Steam, but they're hoping to get with Xbox and Microsoft, and also with PlayStation.
Yeah.
So.
That's pretty much it.
I thought it was really kind of funny though, because I was hoping, okay, you hadn't seen anything for the first time, so I was going back and seeing a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
But I was just like, all right, this is going to motivate me because Troy's like hasn't seen it, so he's going to be all gung-ho and excited and stuff like that. But then like, you walk a lot at that place. Like seriously, like we probably walked it at least like 20 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got exhausted. Like I'm feeling it right now, actually, as we speak.
That's why Troy was just like, man, we needed to go to like more panels where you just get a chance to say it.
That's why I'm like, okay, well, I understand now why panels at like Salt Lake Comic Con are so important. Because you can go and sit for an hour or two, relax. Where this one is just walking in circles.
Right.
For hours. Yeah. So I was pretty sore. But yeah, my main takeaway from Gaming Con is, like I said, it's a lot more personal. It's a good way to get your stuff out there. If you're a game designer or an artist or, whatever it might be, it's a great way to connect to other people, to plug your stuff, get it out there. Yeah. That's the main thing I saw while I was there. That seems to be a big purpose of that con.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Let's unless you have anything else about Gaming Con you want to talk about. Okay. Then let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to get into the movies of 2017. Talk about all the ones that are coming up. So we'll be back right after this.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. All right, so we are in July of 2017.
Summer is in full swing, and so are the movies.
Yep. And there's going to be a lot of blockbusters coming out, a lot of big movies. So we thought we'd kind of run through some that we are looking forward to.
Yeah.
It's kind of month by month here.
We'd also love to hear from you guys, like on Facebook or any other, social media. Some of the ones that you're looking forward to that perhaps we missed.
Okay, so in July, we have, of course, Spider-Man Homecoming, which we saw.
And we will review.
We'll review coming up. A Ghost Story I've never heard of. War for the Planet of the Apes.
Now, this one is the third installment in their new revamped, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I guess. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too.
This one is going to be pretty awesome. We already know what's going to happen, but it's kind of like how it happens that I'm more interested to see.
Which speaks volumes to a movie like this, because usually when they do a prequel or something, like the TV show Gotham,
right?
Like what's going to happen, and it's not interesting,
right?
But with this one, with these movies, they're crafted so well. And the visuals are so good and the acting is so good that it's just kind of captivating.
I know I've said this before, but I kind of based all other like creatures and animals, I go back to like these movies.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, this is how they should look on screen.
Yeah.
You know, this is the new level, guys.
Yeah, it's like there's no excuse now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the technology is there, clearly.
Right.
The other one's coming out in July. I think Dunkirk looks pretty good.
That one does look pretty
Kind of a war. It's a war movie from Christopher Nolan.
Oh, I know you're looking forward to the Emoji Movie. Express
You
yourself.
bet.
That's towards the very end of the month.
The
They
one
try to like hide it in there.
The one I am curious about is Valerian
Mm-hmm.
and a City of 1,000 Planets. People have been really hyping up this movie.
Because of the book series.
Is it a book series?
I
See, I didn't even know
believe
that.
So.
It looks kind of cool. It looks kind of definitely sci-fi-ish, futuristic. But I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
But I keep hearing about it, and people seem excited. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
That one I might probably wait. I don't know. Hold off on. There's
Yeah.
other ones I'm more excited about.
Moving on to August, we got The Dark Tower, which we saw a preview for.
Yes, as well as I am currently reading the book right now.
Okay.
It's pretty dang decent. It'll be kind of interesting. They've got a different cast. Matthew McConaughey does actually look pretty menacing.
Mm-hmm. Which you would never think of Matthew McConaughey as like a bad guy, but
Oh, I can picture it. Like, because he was in, what was the one that was pretty gritty? The lawyer, Lincoln Lawyer.
oh yeah.
And some of these other ones, he's not played a menacing character, but he's kind of played like a rough around the edges kind of a guy.
That's true. Annabelle Creation, I think it's time to stop those personally.
What?
Yeah.
Blumhouse? They can't. Okay,
I know you got a hard on for Blumhouse. I know that.
they're okay. Some of them are better than others, and a lot of the times I feel like they just throw their movie under the Blumhouse name. They do need to stop with The Purge.
Yeah.
That I'll agree with you. Conjuring, yeah, they can give up with that one. Insidious, they can stop with that as well. I did like the second Ouija better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And Annabelle was actually, have you seen this one?
Yeah.
This
Yes, I have.
It was all right. It was pretty decent.
My whole thing is
That dude's running up the stairs. That was pretty creepy.
Yeah, my whole thing is it's just a doll. You know, it's like the same thing with Child's Play with Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a doll. You know, to me, even if there's a demon or whatever attached to it,
Well,
it's not scary. It's not menacing.
Yeah.
It's a doll that doesn't move. You know?
Unlike that one, The Boy, which was actually pretty stupid once you find out what happens in it. Did you ever see that one?
No, you told me about it.
Yeah. Ugh.
No, well, after you told me about it, I didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
Continuing on here. I've heard good things about Logan Lucky. People saying that's pretty good. Polaroid we talked about. Bleh.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it as far as August goes. As far as I
Now-
can see.
Now we start getting into closer to Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, It in September. Yeah. That looks pretty awesome.
It does. It looks freaky and gross. So it's a good combination.
Did you ever read the Stephen King book at all?
No,
Okay.
never did.
And the first, I'm hoping they do a much better job because the first adaptation, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a cult classic.
The one with Tim Curry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was all right. Once you find out it's a spider, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Let's see, what else we got coming out in September here?
Kingsman.
Oh, Kingsman.
Yeah.
Yep, the Golden Circle. Looking forward to that.
Which you were actually, who was it? Colton? Colton?
Yeah.
You were talking to yesterday about this movie.
Yeah, Friday when I went to pick up the camera to use at Gaming Con, he said, I'm sure he'll hear this because he listens.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny because he said, hey, have you seen Kingsman? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I didn't want to watch it because I thought it was kind of like a
spy kids movie?
Yeah, kind of a spy movie for kids. And he said, I'm pretty close to the end, and I'm pretty sure it's rated R.
Like, oh, you
Yes,
don't
it is.
say.
Yes, it is. It's very much R.
Oh yeah, that last fight scene in the hallway scene,
Mm-hmm.
it gets pretty brutal.
Yeah, that scene in the church.
Uh-huh.
Oh man,
Heads flying.
that's an amazing scene. But man, it is violent. American Made, I think, is a Tom Cruise movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, the rest of these I haven't really heard of. Sultry Woodshock, friend request. I'm sure that's some sort of social
like
media
Unfriended. Yeah,
stalker. Yeah. Flatliners, Samson. Is Flatliners a remake?
I want to say it is.
I think it is too. Oh.
Speaking of remakes,
Yes, October we get Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo. I know there's a population of geeks out there that can't wait for this,
mhm.
that they hold Blade Runner up with the same type of reverence they do the Bible or something. But yeah, we've already talked about it. We don't need to go into it again. The Foreigner, October 13th, we talked about last week.
Jackie Chan.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
What else we got? Oh, we got Tyler Perry's Boo 2.
Yeah.
Amadeus Halloween.
Which is definitely, I mean, there is talk. There is buzz for Oscars
Already.
already.
Comes out, a few months already. Maybe Best Picture.
Saw. That's another franchise that just needs to stop.
It needs to die.
Yeah.
It needs to be put in one of its own machines
Yeah.
and destroyed. God Particle, which I guess is in the Cloverfield universe.
It is. It's the
First
third
time I've
and
heard of
final.
this.
It's supposed to be the third and final installment, but they just have like, they're not exactly. They're building this up a lot that they're saying, no, this is not the next. I mean, this is not the next movie. It's just in the same universe taking place. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's the next movie.
More or less.
Yeah. Moving on to November. A Bad Mom's Christmas. I don't know why they're doing that.
Neither do I.
Did the first one do that well
I
to garner a sequel?
It actually did. So like surprisingly.
Well, I don't think it'll do that well because it's coming out the same day as Thor Ragnarok,
Yeah.
which I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, same here.
And it's weird that I can say I'm really looking forward to a Thor movie,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks dang good. Come on, I mean, a gladiatorial fight between Thor and the Hulk,
Who doesn't want to see that?
you can't get better than that.
Justice League.
Justice
the
League
next week,
Yep.
or I guess 2 weeks.
Which I'm still, it's 50-50 for me.
Mm-hmm.
It still is.
It really, because how are they going to introduce all these characters so quickly?
Yeah. I'm worried that they're going to do another Suicide Squad and spend half the movie introducing all these people.
Mm-hmm.
It's
people that you won't even like. I mean, you already know the character and you know their backstory, but you're not going to be that invested in what happens to them. It's like, oh, they killed the Flash. Oh, dang.
I mean, my whole thing is the average person isn't going to know who Cyborg is.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just not going to. Aquaman, yeah, probably.
Right.
And the rest probably, but I don't know. See how it goes. Daddy's Home 2. That actually looked pretty funny. We saw a preview for that.
It did look pretty funny, although the thing that made it really funny about the first one is you really didn't know much about the other dad that was stepping into the picture. This one, you already know who they both are.
Right.
So I guess it's just kind of more their shenanigans, what happens around the holidays.
Mel Gibson making a comeback.
Yeah.
He's in that.
He's already kind of crazy, so it actually kind of works.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I don't think he's doing much acting in that role.
No.
Honestly.
No.
Coco, which I think is the newest animated one from Disney. Yeah, pretty much it for November, at least any movie of note. Then move on to December.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, of course, that's going to be the big one.
Yeah. I just think it's kind of funny because this list that we have, like, it didn't put Star Wars as the main one. It put Jumanji.
Yeah.
Those guys' picture up there.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's Star Wars Episode 8. I mean, who isn't looking forward to that?
Yeah.
You know? And it's... I didn't think I would like this whole, Star Wars movie coming out every year.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice because it doesn't feel like then that there's that long of a wait between movies. Right? Because
then you find that you get it on DVD, and by then it's like already halfway there to the next one.
It's like we've already had Episode 7. We've already had Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And now in just 6 short months, we're going to have Episode 8.
Right.
And then the Han Solo movie, and then on and on and on. So, and I kind of feel bad for the rest of the movies this month because especially, Jumanji. It's coming out literally 5 days after Star Wars.
Yeah.
Not even The Rock can save that.
No.
Pitch Perfect 3. I'll go see that one with the tweens. I'll be there.
Really?
Yes, I'll be there.
Why?
I like I said last time.
It's like
I liked the
effect.
first one. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I liked the first one. I like Anna Kendrick.
Who doesn't?
Go see it. $6 Billion Man. I didn't realize they were making a movie off of that. That's interesting. Based off the old TV show. And then... that
about wraps it up.
Yeah. The Greatest Showman on Earth. We talked about last week with Hugh Jackman. I know you're not looking forward to it so much.
Not really, no.
But it's got me curious.
Yeah.
So, but, I like
because of Hugh Jackman.
I like Hugh Jackman, so... Yeah, that's pretty much it. And honestly, I mean, besides movies like the superhero ones and Star Wars,
there's a couple in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not. I don't see much that's going to make a really big impact, and that's just going to be that kind of one that you usually have that kind of comes out of nowhere that everybody's talking about. But I don't know. I mean, just looking at all these, I just don't.
I don't see it.
But, as we like to say, prove me wrong. All right, let's take another break, our last break. And when we come back, we'll talk about our review of Spider-Man right after this.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back.
While sitting at the con, we were sitting there. You were eating some pizza, and I was just like, I feel like it's our civic duty to see this movie, Troy. We have to give a review.
Yeah. Because that wasn't originally the plan.
No.
We weren't going to go see Spider-Man. But, yeah. But you were saying, like, I think we probably should.
Yeah.
So we did. We went to the theater. There's just across the street. Went and saw it.
Which was packed.
It was.
Yeah.
It was really, Okay. Before we really get into it, here's a synopsis. And we're going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible because it's only been out for a couple days.
Right.
Here's a synopsis. So we find... Well, the movie starts right after the events of the Avengers. We find Michael Keaton. He's running this construction crew that's charged with...
cleaning up the aftermath.
Yeah, cleaning up all these big superhero battles. Government comes in, or Stark
Shark comes in, yeah,
says, no, we are in charge of this. You guys are out.
because they wanted all the alien technology as well as any of the finds.
Yeah. So then Michael Keaton, he's all irate, and so then he realizes, he's got a truck full of stuff still, this alien technology. He's like, you know what? Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's use it. Let's sell it. And so they start using this alien technology.
Well, you really started to feel for him because that
You
was
do.
kind of a horrible situation. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, they should get something out of it because he had rented all these different trucks, hired all these extra men onto his crew, and then they just come in and say, nope, sorry, take it up with somebody else.
Yeah, he's just a normal blue collar guy. And,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you do kind of understand his problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they start selling all this alien technology on the streets to people to make money, And then at the same time, you have Peter Parker, or Penis Parker, as Flash calls him, who his story kicks off right before the events of Civil War.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of a cool little tie-in.
That because he's making kind of a home video
Mm-hmm.
on his phone.
And so that's, the part that you see in the commercial where him, when Ant-Man grows huge, he's like, oh, that guy's big now, I gotta go. It's because he's filming and, being a teenager.
Right.
Which is one of the most enduring things about this film,
Mm-hmm.
is that Spider-Man is a teenager.
Yeah.
And they treat him like one. So what happens then is after Civil War, Peter Parker is waiting around for, the next mission, basically. And it's been
waiting and waiting. Yeah.
It's been 2 months, nobody calling him. He's checking in every night saying, I did this, I helped this old lady, I stopped this guy, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, he's trying to go to high school, lead somewhat of a normal life.
Which is very difficult to do because you're going to miss out on a lot of high school experiences while trying to protect and serve.
Yeah. So one night while he's out, he sees, and you saw it in the trailer, he sees these guys robbing this ATM, tries to stop them. They got these crazy super weapons, and that's when the two stories
kind of collide.
Link up. So that's the synopsis. My first thoughts on this movie is it's the best Spider-Man movie so far.
Oh, absolutely.
And I say that as somebody whose favorite movie was Spider-Man 2 for a good decade.
This is what you get when Marvel takes over and makes a Spider-Man movie.
Yes. You get Spider-Man. This is the closest to the comics, the Spider-Man in the comics that I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He's a nerdy teenage kid in high school who isn't popular, and he can be. He
gets bullied, and it's kind of interesting because that he can lift a tank. The dude can lift like 30 tons.
Yeah.
But these other kids are picking on him, and he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. And it's fascinating. What I really liked is seeing a high school that would exist in this universe where the Hulk exists.
It really didn't seem out of place.
No.
You've had all these other movies and other installments, but you've never seen like a high school of like normal kids, how they would react to knowing superheroes. And like these kids in the gym, these girls are talking about like, who would you, kill, date, you know what I mean? Like that, playing that game.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of funny. I don't know.
And when you go to class and they have all the scientists up above the chalkboard, and one of the scientists is Bruce Banner, and then in gym class, they have Captain America doing these cheesy like presidential fitness videos, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what would happen if superheroes actually existed.
Right.
And it was interesting, and it was really fascinating.
I almost think there would have been a couple more like Stark funded scholarships.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Let's see. I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, speaking of Stark, Tony Stark, he's not in it a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's in it more than I thought he'd be.
Oh, same here.
Yeah. But really what I liked is the relationship between Peter Parker and Happy Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was really pretty clever.
Because Tony has entrusted Happy Hogan to kind of watch over this kid and to kind of make sure he doesn't stay out of trouble. And
so he's got a couple of different mentors. And this kid, Peter Parker, he is so eager to please.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and just wants to help out and wants to be an Avenger. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Yeah, he wants Tony Stark's approval so bad.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. Okay, let's talk about Aunt May for a second. Played by Marissa Tomei. They kept getting references to everybody thinks that Aunt May is really attractive.
Mm-hmm. She has had the what I like to call the Benjamin Button effect, where she's gotten progressively younger in each movie.
Yeah.
But
just kind of
still,
funny.
Yeah.
And look, Marissa Tomei, I think, is attractive. Not in this movie, though. And I think that was the purpose. They made her very plain.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It was weird that everybody kept kind of being attracted to her. It was very odd.
Yeah.
It's like Tony Stark was. The guy at the deli was.
They gave her food? Yeah. Extra, like, food? Yeah.
The guy at the restaurant. Like this, it was weird. There were a couple cameos in here. Of course, you got your Stan Lee cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty standard. There was a little setup for maybe a future villains coming together.
Right. There was definitely, and I mean, you already mentioned one with the Bruce Banner being on the board, but there was quite a few. They threw out a ton of Easter eggs.
Yeah.
If you were listening for it and paying attention, like they gave a ton of hints to what direction they're going with this.
Let's see.
It's worth staying till the end,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's kind of cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was worth staying till the end.
Yeah, stay till the end.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 post-credit scenes. One that kind of carries on with the story, and then one kind of fun. Well, you'll just go and see it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but overall, it's an awesome movie. There's parts in there that are just so freaking funny.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. I'll just say it. There's an interrogation scene that killed me. Yeah. I think I missed most of the dialogue because I was laughing so hard.
Oh yeah.
But it's good because it has those comedic moments, but then it has the serious moments.
Mm-hmm.
But still at the same time it kind of keeps it
it was like Ant-Man but better.
Yeah.
As far as like comedy goes.
Yeah. It still manages to keep things lighthearted and yeah.
Although one interesting thing is before the movie, like they were playing trailers and then they had Tom get on, he was on screen and just said like, hey, thanks for coming to see this movie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like kind of strange.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't need to. They were already going to go see it anyways.
Well, I think it was like, hey, thanks for not pirating this movie. I think that's what they were talking about. Yeah. Thanks for coming to the theater, paying for it instead of downloading it for free.
Huh.
I think that's what they were talking about.
Okay, I just never seen that with any other movie before.
Me neither.
Yeah. But overall, it was by far the best Spider-Man adaptation we've seen on screen. You seriously felt for him at sometimes when you see like this young kid who's trying to ask this girl out, and he's just like so awkward, and you're like, dude, like I don't know, and he's having to juggle so many different things on his plate, and keep his identity secret.
I mean, and that to me is essential Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
because there was a scene where he's going to go to this party, right? And he's looking down in the party, and he has the mask off, and he's just in the rest of his suit. And he sees an explosion off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So he's looking explosion, he's looking down, he's like, oh, okay, well, I got to go.
There was quite a few moments, because there was that other moment where they'd invited him to go swimming at the party, and he couldn't go to that either.
Yeah.
She's just like, I want, like, this is the girl that I really have a crush on and I really like, and I want to go, like, she wants me to be there. And I gotta go do this.
I gotta go, gotta go be Spider-Man. And to me, that is so essentially Spider-Man. And that's what has been missing from the other Spider-Man adaptations, I think.
Because, I mean, he gets the powers and he's just like, he feels obligated and he's just, all right, let's save the day. You're like, well, you're still struggling with all these other things. And
in these other ones, he gets the powers and all of a sudden he's like perfect. He's like a perfect superhero. He does, he
doesn't make mistakes.
Doesn't make mistakes. But this one, he does.
He does. And, like, even though he's trying to, like, do the right thing, you know, he screws the pooch quite a few times.
Because he's a 15-year-old kid.
That's Tony Stark.
Yeah. Because he's a 15-year-old kid and, you know, he's making decisions thinking about these things as a 15-year-old kid. And it's fascinating. And it's really good.
It is.
So, out of 5 flying vulture guys.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we didn't talk much about Michael Keaton. He's excellent.
Oh, he does a fantastic job with it. Yeah. Playing the villain.
Yeah. A sympathetic villain. That's the thing. You know, like, because he keeps saying, look, I'm not doing this to hurt anybody.
Right.
I'm doing it for my family.
There's this kind of, like, iconic moment where they're talking to each other. And, you know, had he not been kind of so wanting to please Tony Stark, you could actually have seen Spider-Man go off the deep end and actually join his cause. Yeah. You know, he's just like, well, that makes perfect sense. He's like, you're a kid, you don't understand this, but, like, the world's cruel and the world will, like, you know, spit on you. And if we don't, like, take a stand, you know, we're just going to be stepped on. Yeah. And you can see that if Spider-Man was older, he could be like, you know what? Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I get it. But yeah, he's excellent. So, out of 5 flying vulture guys, I'm giving it, I'm giving it 4. Yeah. Because there are a few things in there that were a little cheesy and a little, like, thrown in there. Yeah, shoehorned in there. So I'm giving it 4. That's where I'm sitting as well. There was just a couple of things that you're just like, okay, unnecessary. Yeah. But no, it was a solid performance. Yeah. All right. There we go. So here's where you can find us. You can listen to all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. You can listen to us on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social medias, you can find us at facebook.com/WorldWarG podcast. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at WWG podcast. You can find our merchandise and our t-shirts at shop.spreadshirt.com/WorldWarG. You can also email us anytime, day or night, at worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So this has been World War G, episode 135. That has been AJ. And that has been Troy. Stay geeky, my friends. And remember, if you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it.